Hey everybody, this is Keith here of Euphoria Pictures. Welcome back to my channel. Right folks, so for this video I'm going to be taking you around some of the 4K pickups that I've gotten in the last few weeks. Just quickly share my thoughts on them, what I thought of the transfers as well. I haven't done a video like this in a while, and some of the releases that I have in here are quite good. There is one very bad one, which I'm going to start with. But I don't think many of these kind of required me doing individual reviews for. And I thought, you know what, why not throw it together in one video? So that's exactly what I'm going to be delivering with this one. So I'm going to jump into it, and like I said, I'm going to start with probably one of the shittest movies I've seen in a while. And it is Night Swim. It's a haunted swimming pool. It's a haunted swimming pool. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Is Hollywood gone that bad that this is the best they can come up with in terms of a horror movie? They'll probably make a sequel to this now, and it'll probably be a haunted puddle. I don't bloody know. It is ridiculous, yes. Now, when it comes to movies like this, I don't necessarily need everything to be explained, but I was somewhat intrigued to find out how the swimming pool is haunted. And as soon as they explained this, I rolled my eyes and I was like, wow, I kind of wish I could have done without actually knowing. It is an absolute shocking movie. Terrible performances, lacks any kind of scares or suspense, no originality. And not only that, but the 4K transfer on this it's not great. Now, I have to choose my words right here. It's good. It is good if it's a Blu-ray release, but it's a 4K release. And it just lacks that kind of 4K sharpness. I didn't check out the Blu-ray, but something is telling me that the 4K is not a whole lot different to the Blu-ray. So yes, I was kind of underwhelmed by the 4K transfer in this. It does have a DTS 5.1 audio on it, and it is active for the most part. Kind of relies on your scares, you know, your rear speakers. They are kind of whispering in your ears and all that kind of stuff going on. But other than that, it is what it is. A god-awful movie, a bland 4K release. The only thing it has going for it is its audio and a decent-looking slipcover. That's about it. So that is Night Swim. A terrible way to start the video, but there you go. Right, so up next, this was a great one to pick up. I got the 4K release of Major League. It's amazing to think the last time I owned this movie physically was on VHS. I never had it on DVD, Blu-ray, and to actually have it on 4K, and not just on 4K, but on steelbook form as well, and it's a decent looking steelbook. It really is the cherry on top. It's a wonderful movie. I always loved it back from my childhood. Great cast: Tom Berenger, Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes, just to name a few. It's basically this baseball team. They're basically in shambles. They get this coach in, and he basically hires these kind of has-beens, these so-called replacements, and needless to say, it all starts to gel together, even though it starts off quite poorly. It is insanely funny. It really is. The 4K transfer on this is an absolute stunner. It takes a bit of time. It does take a bit of time, but once it kicks in, I think you're going to be massively impressed. I'm not going to have any complaints from me, because like I said, the last time I owned this was on VHS. And yeah, I was massively impressed by the picture quality on this, mainly down to the Dolby Vision HDR colours. When you see a lot of the greenery on the actual baseball park, it just looks absolutely beautiful. And it has a DTS 5.1 audio in this as well, and it is quite active. Again, mainly when it comes to the inside the baseball stadium. You know, the crowds, you know, it just adds a certain element of atmosphere to the movie. So I was very impressed by the 5.1. So yes, great to finally have Major League on 4K. And I tell you, I wouldn't mind seeing the sequel get the 4K treatment sometime in the future as well. Again, much like this one, I only owned it on VHS, and even though it's not as good as this one, I still thought it was a fun sequel. So there you have it folks, Major League. What a treat to finally get that now on 4K. Right, so up next is a movie that hasn't aged all that well for me, unfortunately, and I know a few people are going to be surprised to hear me say that. It is The Monster Squad. Now, if you're not particularly aware of this, it's basically Dracula gets hold of all the famous Universal monsters, you know, like the creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein, Wolfman, the Mummy, and they basically wreak havoc in this small town, and it's up to these youngsters here, the Monster Squad, to put a stop to it. It's basically the Goonies in a nutshell, but unfortunately, I don't know, maybe, you know what, maybe it got me in a bad night. I don't know. I hadn't seen this movie in years, much like Major League. I haven't seen it since, wow, back in the VHS days. And it's just not as great as I remembered it being. But maybe if I watch it again, now that my expectations are not quite as high for it, I might feel very, very differently about it. I'll tell you, it's a very ambitious movie because it's actually written by Shane Black, who I think is a great writer. You've also got, you know, Stan Winston that does some of the creature effects in this. Even Richard Inland, who is the head of ILM, he's even involved in this. So it's quite ambitious. And for the most part, it does look good. Some of the creature effects are quite impressive. I just wish I enjoyed it more than I did. Now, the 4K transfer on this one, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was amazing. It is a grainy affair, and the grain does fluctuate at times. Sometimes it could be, I won't say light. You know, it's quite evident. It's one of them grainy transfers. But sometimes when you get them kind of low-lit interior shots, the grain can be very, very heavy at times. But for the most part, I was quite surprised by its 4K transfer. Not amazing, but it is quite good. And it does have a DTS 5.1 audio in this one as well. I didn't have many complaints with it either. The dialogue was clean, beautifully centered. Nice bit of activity there as well. No complaints. So there you have it, folks. Monster Squad. Decent 4K transfer. The sound is quite good in it as well. I'm just hoping that it grows on me a bit more when I view it again. So there you have it, the Monster Squad. Right, so up next, I have... this is a big deal to get on 4K for myself. And it is Tobe Hooper's Life Force. I'll tell you, when we watched this a couple of nights ago, I was very impressed by it. I was always a fan of the movie, but wow, it's very ambitious for the movie it was trying to be. You know, on a visual standpoint, the visuals look amazing. Practically speaking, they're quite impressive as well. I'm not going to say now they don't look somewhat dated, but for the time, they were quite amazing. Now, if you're not particularly aware of the movie, it's basically these astronauts, they find this derelict spacecraft, they go into it, they find the bodies of 3 people, 1 woman, 2 men. They're kind of in cryostasis. They bring them back to Earth, they get out of their cryo tubes, and basically what they do is they suck the life force out of you. And you're basically a skeleton. But the thing is, your skeleton gets up and it needs to feed as well. It's essentially vampires. I think it was actually originally meant to be titled Space Vampires or something like that. Thank God they changed the title on it. It wouldn't have worked. But it's a good watch. It really, really is. Some fantastic performances in this as well. Like I said, on a visual standpoint, it looks absolutely incredible. The 4K transfer is hands down, and I mean this hands down, the best this movie has ever looked. But not only that, it comes with a Dolby Atmos soundtrack, and I can tell you now, it transforms this movie. I could not believe how good it sounds. Mainly scenes in it where when the woman is sucking the life out of a person, there's a lot of activity going on, and then right at the end of it, all the carnage that's going on in London. It is so incredibly impressive. There's just so much going on in terms of its audio, and it's the real reason to why you want to pick this up. Like, don't get me wrong, the picture quality is absolutely spectacular, but the Dolby Atmos is a real game changer. It really, really is. So there you have it, folks, Life Force, and if you haven't checked this one out, I definitely recommend doing so. Right, so up next, we have another movie that I haven't owned since back in the VHS days. What a great time to be a 4K collector. And it is Tales from the Dark Side. Now, this is a horror anthology movie. It consists of 3 stories based on short stories by Stephen King. And the first story stars Christian Slater. And let's just say he has a mummy problem and he has to deal with it. I'm going to say no more about it. The second story is basically about this old man who hires a hitman to take out a cat. It's not as easy as it seems. I'll say no more about that. And then the third story stars James Remar, and he witnesses the death of a friend right at the start of it. It's by this creature does it. And instead of the creature killing him, he makes him promise that he would never, speak about him. And again, I can't say anything more about that. Let's just say James Remar just can't let it go. And he probably should have. But I'll say no more. Again, I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But if you haven't checked this movie out, it is definitely worth checking out. The third story, James Remar's one, is probably my favourite of the three. The second one is actually, I think it's a screenplay by George Romero. And when you do watch it, it feels like it belongs in the Creepshow movies. It has that, I don't know, it has that vibe. It has that look. That it just belongs with the first Creepshow movie, and it's a great story. It really, really is. Now, the 4K transfer on this one is another stunner. My God, Scream Factory really know how to deliver when it comes to 4K transfers. This is absolutely beautiful. It has this beautiful, consistent level layer of grain, beautifully filmic. And when you see some of the deep blacks, and I am not kidding you, particularly on the second story with the cache, the depth on the picture is just infinite. I am not kidding you. It is a stunning 4K transfer, and I couldn't believe what I was watching. And it also has a DTS 5.1 audio, and it is a horror movie. It is quite active at times, particularly the second story, because you have the cat kind of running around and it's just coming in and out of the rear speakers, coming into your fronts. Nice bit of separation there as well. Very, very impressive. So yes, folks, Tales from the Dark Side. If you haven't checked it out and you're into your horror anthologies, I can't think of a better movie to check out. So there you go, Tales from the Dark Side. Right, so up next is a first time watch for me. And I'm surprised I left it for this long to actually finally see this movie. And it is Clue. And as you can see, if you can look at the cover of it, it's a feature movie based on the board game Cluedo. And I didn't know what to expect with this, but I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. As a matter of fact, I would nearly go as far as to say it's absolutely phenomenal. Now, I don't know much of the cast in this. Tim Curry is in it. He is at his usual best, particularly when you see the last half an hour. He's so animated, and he is an absolute joy to look at. Christopher Lloyd is in there as well. I don't really know much about the rest of the cast, but my God, they all deliver. All very likeable performances, and I was so amazingly impressed by it. Even the set and the house itself, it just screams Cluedo. And it has a very, very unique ending. I didn't know whether or not I should explain what's going on in terms of the endings, or just let you, just see it for yourselves. You know what? I'm not going to say nothing. It does have a very unique ending. It could make or break the movie for you. Thankfully, I thought it was absolutely incredible. And if you haven't checked out Cluedo, I definitely recommend doing so. Now, the 4K transfer on this one, out of all the Scream Factory ones that I showed in this one, it's probably the least underwhelming one. Take nothing away from it. It still looks amazing. It is a bit of a grainy affair, I'm not going to lie. It can be a bit obtuse at times. But for the most part, I was pleasantly surprised. Look, I had no expectations when it comes to its 4K transfer, and I got a lot from it. It never ruined my enjoyment of the movie. It is a good, solid looking transfer. I just wanted a bit more from it. I don't know, maybe it's because I watched the other Scream Factory titles and then I watched this one and it just didn't quite live up to my expectations. But yes, it's a good 4K transfer. I was quite impressed by it, and it is such a wonderful, wonderful movie. So definitely recommend checking out if you haven't seen it already before. So there you have it, folks. That is everything that I'm going to be showing in this video. And I just want to do a quick shout out again, because these 5 here, Major League, Monster Squad, Life Force, Tales from the Dark Side, and Clue, I actually got all 5 of those from HD Movie Source. And I just want to throw a big shout out to the lads again, Mark and Carl. Thank you so much. It is, and I mean this, it is great to have an outlet like yous, because the thought of missing out on these movies, some of the 4K transfers, it would have been an absolute shame. So if it wasn't for yous, I wouldn't have these right now. So again, folks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link in the description below to their website. And if you're looking for an outlet to get some of these American releases, go on over. Throw them reach out to these boys. As a matter of fact, they have this scheme set up on their website. If you type in Euphoria, where it says, add a coupon or something, I think it's something like that. If you type in Euphoria, you'll get a certain percentage off your titles. So once again, lads, thank you so much, and the link is in the description below. So there you have it, folks. That is everything in this video, and some amazing movies in there and some fantastic looking 4K transfers. So there you have it. So as per usual, if you did like what you see here, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you could leave a comment down below, and please do share your thoughts on some of the movies that I showcased in this video. And yeah, I hope to see you all again real soon with my next video. Until then, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.